Imagine a world uncharted, unseen, and untouched by European civilization. The gates of our secret garden are now open. Welcome to the monastery lost in the woods, that hidden place where you and me are going to sit together and have a chat in peace, tonight, under a full moon. We are going to talk about the spiritual appropriation that took place in South America when the conquistadors arrived. In the 15th century, a wave of armored men from Spain, driven by dreams of gold and glory, set foot on this vast continent. They beheld a land rich in natural resources and inhabited by diverse indigenous peoples, each with their own spiritual traditions and cosmologies. Yet, these initial encounters marked the beginning of a dramatic transformation. The conquistadors, driven by a potent mix of religious zeal and material ambition, embarked on a mission of conquest and conversion. They sought to claim the wealth of the New World for the Spanish crown and to spread the teachings of Catholicism amongst the indigenous population. In their wake, they left a landscape forever altered, a spiritual identity reshaped. Thus began a chapter of history that would forever change the spiritual landscape of South America. Armed with the sword and the cross, the Spanish conquest was not just a military endeavor, but a spiritual mission. As we delve deeper into this era, we can't overlook the pivotal role of Catholic missionaries. These religious soldiers of the cross, hand in hand with the conquistadors, were instrumental in spreading Christianity across the vast expanse of South America. Often, their methods were far from gentle. Coercion, violence, and intimidation were frequently employed to bring indigenous populations to the fold of the Church. The Spanish crown, eyeing the rich resources of the New World, lent its full support to these missionaries. The conversion of indigenous people to Christianity was seen as a divine mandate, a sacred duty that justified even the most ruthless measures. Yet, it wasn't just about the conversion of souls. The missionaries were also agents of cultural assimilation. They worked to supplant the vibrant tapestry of indigenous beliefs and rituals with the doctrines and practices of Catholicism. Centuries-old traditions were dismissed as pagan, idolatrous, even demonic. In their place, the missionaries erected churches, monasteries, and schools, turning them into epicenters of religious authority and power. One of the most potent tools in their arsenal was the Spanish Inquisition. This fearsome institution loomed large over the New World, enforcing religious orthodoxy with an iron hand. It wasn't just those who clung to indigenous beliefs who were targeted. Even those within the Catholic faith who dared to deviate from strict orthodoxy were subjected to the Inquisition's relentless scrutiny. The impact of these forced conversions was profound. Entire communities were uprooted from their spiritual roots, their cultural identities eroded. The rich diversity of indigenous beliefs was marginalized, often lost in the shadows of the towering cross. Yet, despite the onslaught, indigenous cultures found ways to survive, to adapt, and to resist. Syncretism emerged as a key survival strategy, a blending of Catholic and indigenous beliefs that allowed a semblance of cultural continuity even amid the relentless pressure of conversion. In the name of God and the crown, a new faith was imposed, often by force. The Spanish did not simply introduce a new faith. They actively sought to eradicate the old. This was a time of forced conversion, where indigenous beliefs were not only undermined but actively suppressed. The Spanish, with a zealous fervor, moved to eliminate any trace of the indigenous spiritual practices they found. They viewed these practices as idolatrous, incompatible with the Christian faith they were imposing. Rituals, ceremonies, and festivals intrinsic to indigenous cultures were banned, leaving a spiritual void. Sacred sites were desecrated, symbols of a rich spiritual heritage destroyed. The Spanish assault on indigenous beliefs was relentless, a systematic dismantling of centuries-old spiritual systems that were as diverse as the people themselves. However, the human spirit is resilient, and in the face of such suppression, indigenous communities found ways to keep their spiritual traditions alive. They did this through a process known as syncretism, a blending of religious practices. On the surface, they appeared to conform to Catholicism, attending Mass, venerating saints, and observing Christian holidays. Yet beneath this veneer of conformity, they cleverly wove elements of their old beliefs into their new faith. For instance, Many indigenous deities were subtly reimagined as Catholic saints. Their sacred rituals were disguised as Christian ceremonies. In this way, they managed to keep their spiritual traditions alive, albeit in a modified form. This was a survival strategy, a way to preserve their culture and spiritual identity amidst a sea of forced change. Syncretism was, and still is, a testament to the resilience and adaptability of these indigenous communities. It allowed them to retain a sense of spiritual continuity, even as their world was being turned upside down. It was a form of resistance, a way to assert their spiritual autonomy in the face of a dominant culture that sought to erase their past. In the face of suppression, a new form of spiritual expression emerged, born of necessity and resilience. It was a profound testament to the enduring power of faith, the strength of culture, and the indomitable spirit of the indigenous peoples of South America. The impact of the Spanish conquest on South American spirituality was not confined to the colonial period. The ripple effects of this monumental historical event continue to shape the spiritual identity of the region today. As the Spanish established their control, indigenous cultures bore the brunt of their aggressive conversion tactics. Traditional practices that had been the heart and soul of these societies for centuries were systematically eradicated. Along with them, languages that had been spoken for generations began to fade away, silencing the unique expressions of spirituality that they carried. Yet, the spiritual heart of South America did not beat its last. Despite centuries of suppression, indigenous beliefs managed to survive, often hidden beneath the veneer of Catholicism. This resilience is a testament to the enduring power of spirituality, a force that can withstand even the harshest of challenges. Catholicism, brought to these shores by the conquistadors, has since become deeply entrenched in the region. Today, it is the dominant religion in most South American countries, its influence evident in the many churches, festivals, and religious practices that are part of daily life. However, the spiritual landscape of South America is not a monolithic entity defined solely by Catholicism. Indigenous beliefs, though suppressed, never completely disappeared. They continue to exist, often in blended forms, adding rich, diverse threads to the tapestry of South American spirituality. From the Andean highlands to the Amazon rainforests, indigenous rituals and ceremonies endure, their whispered prayers carrying the legacy of cultures that refuse to be forgotten. These practices, often syncretized with elements of Catholicism, serve as potent reminders of the region's spiritual past and its capacity for resilience and adaptation. And so, the spiritual legacy of the Spanish conquest is a complex one. It is a story of loss and survival, of domination and resistance. It is a testament to the enduring power of faith and the human spirit's capacity to adapt, survive, and keep its sacred flames alive against all odds. The spiritual landscape of South America today is a blend, the result of a long and bloody history of conquest, colonialism, and resilience. The journey we've taken today is a reflection of the complexity and often painful history of South American spirituality. We've journeyed from the arrival of the Spanish conquistadors through forced conversions, the suppression of indigenous beliefs, and the emergence of syncretism, to the lasting impact on the present-day spiritual landscape. This history shapes our present and our future, and it is up to the people of South America what the future will bring to their spiritual freedom. Thank you for joining us on this journey. If you found this video enlightening, please leave a like and subscribe for more. We appreciate your support. Muchas gracias. The gates of our secret garden are now closed.